Guys, welcome to episode 31. So we're gonna start, guys, you understand why it's 31 in my head? Because I said this is episode 32, Mike nodded, Enrique said episode 31. So don't be surprised one day I will hurt Enrique right on live television.
But you said you were gonna hurt me before, so
I know, I forgot about it. So we have a good show, hopefully. He stops his pushing. We have a question, which is a really good one, guys. This might take the whole episode. It's from Thomas Keller, and he's like, tips for older grapplers against younger, more athletic, faster guys. So I'm going to actually expand the definition. I'm going to also assume that you're smaller than the younger, faster, athletic, stronger guy. The good part is that's the whole idea of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, think about it. Who basically invented it, popularized it, evolved it is Renzo Gracie and Karel Gracie, and basically they were both, 130 pounds soaking wet. So that's the whole idea of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think where we have a disconnect is people start to think of simplicity and old school versus new school. Okay, and I'm not advocating that you guys start to do barambolos and trying to do honey hole entries and so forth. A lot of that stuff is very complicated, and so sometimes you can carry the top guy's weight. If he's athletic, he can actually punish you for things. What I am advocating is technology, technique. That's what it's about. Think about it. I like cars. I don't know how to fix them, but I like looking at them. I like driving them. I like, looking at them and doing research and everything. Guys, think about it this way. So when the guy tells you just, do old school, simple stuff, he's basically telling you to be a Model T. At an age where, even young athletic guy could be a Honda Accord. Think about it this way. You want to be the Honda Accord. If you think about a Honda Accord, which is basically a family car right now, and, that beats a performance car from like 1930s, 1940s. Even though that car probably had 4 times the size of the engine. I actually saw something about, I forget, maybe Bentley or something, where they put like a 10-cylinder engine into this car and went 0 to 60 in 12 seconds. A Prius will beat that right now. Okay? So think about it this way, guys. You want to develop technology. You want to develop technique. You want to be efficient and effective. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that, and kind of we're going to look at it. Okay, this is the old school stuff, and this is sort of the, let's call it a Fox style game. I think that's one of the reasons why I got the nicknames, because a lot of the guys at Renzo's, they're young, athletic, and I needed to make up that difference with skill gap. That's what you want to build, is a skill gap, where you're making smaller movements, fewer movements, more effective movements, all right? So one of them, guys, if you hear the noise, we have another dog visitor here. Well, you can't train with us. I know it looks like fun, which it is. So guys, one of the things, so I'm gonna do an old school sort of triangle. So maybe I start out here, slap it on, and start to jam the head. Okay, that's a lot of movement, and guess what? Chances are this will fail with a live environment. If you got a young, athletic, fast guy, it doesn't have to be young, he's athletic, explosive. You can have an older guy that's not that flexible but is explosive, full of muscle. He's going to escape, and guess where you're going to be? On the bottom side control. So the way I do triangle instead is I basically break his posture. And it's fairly easy for me to just sit up and break his posture. Now I grab my shin, and that's it. From here, if I'm lined up, I work on the angle. He cannot pick me up. He cannot escape. This is very difficult to escape. He tries to go through his legs. It's going to be done. So basically, I cut out the movement that I'm doing. So instead of doing a lot of movements and trying to get my hips really, really high, bring it back down, switch the arm over, no. I shoot my leg, grab my shin, cut the angle. That's it. And then squeeze. So it's a very, and by the way, this is very, very effective. It's very rare. If I hit this on one of my black belts, it's very rare. Usually it's done. So there's not a lot of movement on my part. That's what you want. You want efficiency. You want, it looks like you're fast, but you're not. Another good example, this is really good, especially if you're smaller and you're playing guard, and the guy is, and I have real examples of this where I had guys that, you know, purple belt, world champion of the world, you know, and super heavyweight was passing my guard, and I'm trying to hold him off, and I'm thinking, man, this is not, at some point, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the movement from side to side. So a lot of times, the guy just kind of grabs your leg and just, you know, you try to get some grips and side to side, and then he passes through, and I lock him up in an inverted triangle. So again, I need to make sure, you guys, what I'm doing is I'm not baiting people into these techniques. What I'm doing is I'm basically setting things up, knowing that where things are going to go eventually, and I try to hit them before they get to the point where they want to be. So I know he's going to pass my leg, especially, you know, with gi or no gi, doesn't matter. When the guy is you need to sort of slow them down enough. But as he's coming through, so I'm going to demonstrate this technique. It's one of my favorite, actually. I'm trying to swim. I'm trying to get some grips, if I can get grips. But at some point, as he's shoving through, I'm going to bring my leg. I turn to him, and I bring my leg. So I initially take it, so he's holding that leg. But he's going to let it go as I bring it out. I turn on my side, and that's it. Even if you cannot lock your triangle, and we can please rotate, otherwise it's shorter. So even if I cannot lock this, right now he's trapped. He's not going to be able to escape that fast, and I can go to simultaneous submission. Okay? So, again, I don't need to necessarily lock up a beautiful inverted triangle, but it's enough where I basically now trap him briefly, and I can take advantage of the position. Okay? Another one is, I'm going to go over two more. One is also top side control. So a lot of times when I get top side control, especially the older, you know, especially the guys, you're like, this is key lock, right? Americana. Everybody likes doing this. The problem is you got some younger, more flexible guy, especially if you're doing this, if he starts to, yeah, go ahead. Start to extend or start to turn into it. Or either way, yeah. Yeah, this, they might escape. Okay? So there's two ways, again, to make it more stronger. So first of all, I pin his arm with my shin. As I attack, as he stretches it out, especially if he's stronger than me, I don't try to fight back to bend it. This is not going to happen. What I'll do is basically, when he stretches it out, I make a figure four, and we still have the submission. So rather than me battle and try to straighten it out as I'm overexposing myself, especially if you don't pin that arm, yeah, now, oh crap, okay? So again, when you top side control, it's a lot of little things. And it's an evolution, just like car evolution. I'm pretty sure that cars of today can beat, you know, like even not like a semi-sporty car can beat a car from the 60s. That was considered, you know, pretty much, you know, performance car. So, that's it. I start to go for it. He straightens it out, no problem. This is done. Another one, guys, and this is one of the things that so especially when you're standing, the idea is not necessarily to take the other guy down, but to basically be brought down on your terms. So if I'm starting standing with Enrique like this, he's going to be able to take me down fairly easily with you know, especially if he's stronger, gets underneath. Now, what I can try to set the guy up. Notice what I'm doing to my stance now. I stand narrow. When I stand narrow, it's almost sure that when he comes in, he's coming in with the head on the outside for a single. No problem. As soon as he gets the single, I'm going down with him. Straight into a guillotine. So again, the idea is not necessarily for me to get the takedown. I want to get the submission. If I fail with that submission, if you do the guillotine the way I do it, you at the very least wind up on top. So even if Enrique winds up succeeding, so again, go back. If I'm like this, Yeah, this is, he can come with the head in the middle. All right, Enrique will be now the, I'll be the, okay, maybe he's gonna like that better. All right, so this one, he will take me down. So I already naturally start to income. So this way he's gonna, and then as I'm going down, I'll wind up on top. Okay? So again, the idea is technology. Understanding how your body positioning relative to his causes him to move a certain way, and then I take advantage of that. Is that definition of BJJ technology? Should be unfortunate somewhere. All right, do we have questions?
So, first Adolfo says, I'm the Prius of Jiu-Jitsu.
There you go. By the way, that beats like the whatever Bentley from, I forget what decade it was, but it was some, this was like the car of the, like, you know, was beating all the other cars at the time. I want to say it was maybe late 30s or probably around that area, just before the war. Was, by the way, there was a lot of good technology, good design of cars coming out at that point in time. And Prius would beat that car right now.
They'll go to like
12 seconds to 0 to 60, 12 seconds. I think the Prius can do it in 11.
And then Angsberg is saying, good morning, to especially to the furry friends. We'd love to see them during the sign-off.
Yeah.
And he's asking, related to, you know, jiu-jitsu, is the triangle what you're aiming for when you get your feet on the biceps from guard?
Absolutely. Guys, you know, if you've been watching, if you have any of my instructionals, triangle is an amazing weapon in jiu-jitsu, which is not used very much, and that's a shame. And I believe the reason it is not used very much is because for most people it's very ineffective. And the reason for that is because it's not wrong, it's just can be countered multiple ways. If you do it my way, guys, it's very difficult to counter. Very, very difficult to counter. The counters are generally for triangle is posturing up, that's probably number 1 counter. You know, twisting around, that's probably number 2 counter. You know, in MMA or in, you know, in ADCC rules, you can be picked up and slammed. Again, anytime you line up with the guy on top, you are subject to being picked up. So if you do the triangle my way, all those 3 counters are very difficult to pull off. It's almost impossible. Not impossible, but very, very difficult. So the point is, the triangle should be used a lot more. I saw something on statistics on UFC fights that end in submission. Almost 50% of them were rear naked choke. 13% or something like that, 12 to 15% was armbar. 12 to 15% was guillotine. And the rest was nothing, like 2 to 3%. How is a triangle 2 to 3%? I'll tell you how. Because people do it the old way. Is, you know, this is the way it's taught, and I would consider that, I believe this is sort of the Model T technology. Yeah, if this sequence works well, it's going to work. But stop it at any point. You could stop it at various points in that. All right? You just lost it. Okay? You just lost it. Can you pick me up? Yeah, I don't want to be there. So the point again is, when you're doing a triangle, you could see how easily it is countered at literally at 3 different points of the triangle. If you do it my way, it's very difficult to counter. Very, very difficult. And again, every time I teach a seminar, if that's the topic, I literally pick the biggest guy in the room. I remember in Germany, I had 2 brothers. They were like over 7 feet. I have pictures, guys. They were over 7 feet tall. I said, pick me up. I literally was like, felt like 10 feet in the air. But when he picked me up, and then once I go cut the angle, hold my shin, they could not pick me up anymore. So the point is, you need to do things in a better way. You know, the technology of jiu-jitsu is evolving very quickly, and the videos that are out there, would be it on YouTube, be it on BJJ Fanatics, be it on paid platforms, is available to everybody, and that's spreading the knowledge. The point is, like, people get conflicting advice. So the point is, I might be conflicting advice with the advice you've gotten before. The reality of things is that if I can do it, chances are great majority of people can do it too. The only way to do it that way is to put in the time. So for me, it's if you put in the time, you will acquire the knowledge.
And Daddy Unbox is saying hello from the Philly. His name is Daddy Unbox. He's saying hello from the Philippines. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner out there.
What's going on? How you doing? How's everything over there?
And we have a question from Yogev Adler. He's saying, "Hey Fox, you're the best. Can you show a transition from your transition from doing the arm lock from the back to the triangle?"
Oh. All right. Yeah. I think I know. There's different ways to get there. I'm talking about the setup to your question. Let me see. So I believe this is one of the setups. So I go far side armbar, and the guy starts to spin. So I will bring. So I'm trying to bring both legs over. There's another way that I do it is from the top when I'm mounted. So Enrique and I start to go into this, right? I start to go into the armbar. So what he does is, so when he starts to beat the armbar, what I do, I usually pull. So right now I don't need to pull, but sometimes if the guy's arm is a little bit further out, I pull him off to the side and bring the leg over. Let's do a better angle on that. So as I'm, basically, Enrique now knows the counter. I sort of slide in for an armbar, and I just basically almost go with him. So when I'm doing an armbar, I want to be perpendicular. So his defense to armbars go lined up with me, which allows me to attack the back. So so I start with a perpendicular intention. He lines up with me, so I switch back to the back. From here, guys, I will lock up a triangle, whatever is the easiest way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a triangle. It could be, so Enrique's holding my right shin. So I will just swim it under my left. If he switches to my left, I cross. You can cross it a diamond. This is a very devastating sequence. It works like a charm against high-level guys. So that's some of the transitions that I use, and it's really good. Again, understand, guys, the biggest thing, and this is sort of, you can think about it, you can visualize this, you don't even have to. So if you can only train 3 times a week, that's okay. Just try to watch some videos, visualize things. And white and blue, it's gonna not help you so much because you need to focus on fundamentals, on the basics. But when you get to brown, purple, brown, black, it's very helpful is to try to visualize things. Try to focus on what is the pattern. How are people escaping your things? Because once you know how they're escaping, then you can figure out what is the counter. It's just a matter of trying to figure out, okay, what are they doing and how do I counter it? Sometimes if you don't know the answer, ask your teacher. The teachers usually know know the way. But again, with arm bars, this is the beauty of things, and this works very simply both from the guard as well as from the top. Think about it, or when you're on the guy's back, think about it this way. Arm bars are perpendicular, back attack, lined up, linear. So anytime the guy defends, I switch into the attack from that body position. Again, we talk about efficiency. Rather than me trying to force into sort of my initial attack, I take what he gives me, which is, So okay, you get you're positioning your body perpendicular. Well, this is a perfect example to attack the armbar. Say if I'm on the guy's back. Okay, then Enrique decides that he wants to, he's going perpendicular. That's it. I switch to the armbar. Now he decides that he's going to beat the armbar. I line up with it on his back. So basically, I'm attacking what he's giving me. All right. And just like that, we're almost out of time. Come on, Wally. Yeah, let him loose so people can see you.
Wally.
It was not air conditioning, it was the dog panting in the back.
Go.
Wally.
Go.
Come on.
Ming.
Here's your 15 seconds of fame. All right, guys, we're out of time. Share, like, subscribe, please. We'll see you soon next week.